Hey everybody, it's Leslie Don Wilson with Small Brands Media, and today we're with Bob McCraney, owner,
Hello.
inventor, originator of Small Brands Media, and we're going to talk about analytics and your website and how to track it and why it's important and what tools are best to use. And go ahead, Bob.
Okay, great. So thanks for anybody watching. Thanks, Leslie, for doing this with me. So Google Analytics is a product that's been out for years. Website people know about it. It provides information on how people use your website. It gives you some basic statistics. It's got more detail in the product below. You can see what countries people are coming from, what pages they go to, how the traffic is getting to you. But for me, it's pretty hard to drill into the next level. These are basic numbers. It tells me some good stuff. I don't necessarily know what this means. Okay. Next, we have a separate software, Google Search Console. Google Search Console talks about how search engines and computers interact with your site, as opposed to analytics, which is about people. So this tells me a different data set about how my site is doing, and it may make sense. It may not. I'm not sure what it all means. And again, it's a little hard to drill into unless you're really well trained in this. And then on top of that, you have everybody probably has a Google Business Profile. So Google Business Profile has to do with how you're doing with your profile in search and on maps and what's going on with that. And it gives you some information about, how your profile is doing. But again, how do these properties all interact with each other?
And these
So
are all
what we
Google
do,
products. These are all Google products, so why don't they just have it all bundled together?
I don't know, but it gives us an opportunity to talk to you today about why you should bundle them together. And we have a product that does that. We like to look at Google Analytics, Google Search Console, Google Business Profile, and another product called Google Lighthouse all on one page because the numbers from one speak to the numbers on the other. So
Ah,
in this example here, we have our Google Search Console on the left. We can see that in the last month, we showed up 213,000 times as a relevant search result in Google searches, meaning that our website, Texas Pride Realty, showed up 213,000 times as a search result somewhere on the internet, which is great. Now we can also see that 949 people clicked on those search results and came to our website. So that 949 users is also included in this total number of users. 4,227 total users came to our site in the last month. So 949 came through organic searching and 4,227 total users came to the site. Now, some of them came back multiple times because there were a total of 5,208 sessions. Now, these numbers here on the right are from Google Analytics. So we have Search Console on the left giving us some numbers and Analytics on the right giving us the rest of the picture. Because if I look at them separately, I'm not going to see. So 4,227 total users came back, a total of 5,208 times. Here I can see that my direct traffic was the number one, organic traffic was number two, unassigned. Unassigned is going to be our privacy people with their iPhones or DuckDuckGo. We will just never be sure to know where they are coming from. Paid search was number four. I like that. I don't like paid search to be number one because then I'm dependent on ads. Organic social, when we've shared things on organic, people are clicking over. Referral sites, other sites sending people over to us. Organic video, we're doing obviously YouTubes and stuff like that, getting people over to our site. Cross network, I'm not even sure what cross network is. And then paid social. That may be a random because I know we're running Google ads. I don't think we're running paid social ads. It will tell you the total number of events that people did on the site. So 4,227 people came to the site and looked at 28,359 things.
wow. That's
So this
amazing.
is a more cohesive way of seeing the data all together that we can do for you by taking your access to Google Search Console, your Google Analytics. Now let's add in your Google Business Profile. So this is telling me that 101 people clicked on our Google Business Profile and came to our website. That's up 31% from the previous month. That's excellent. I'm gonna give John a shout out. John's our admin who does a lot of our posting for us. John, great work. By the way, if anybody wants to talk to John, give us a comment below. Our total impressions are actually down a little bit, 12%. That's nominal. Sometimes that can mean we had a really good post last month that went off crazy. I don't really stress about that too much. So we had 878 impressions to get 101 people to click on us. Of those impressions, 374 were impressions from a desktop search, meaning somebody on a laptop or computer searched for that.
Hmm.
226 of those were from a mobile phone search. Now we know that Google Business Profile shows up not just in searches, it shows up on Google Maps. So we are up 38% on Google Maps impressions on desktop maps. And then we're up 5% on impressions on mobile maps. So these are just great things you can look at to see how is my site doing. And by putting them all on the same page, you can see what's going on. This 101 clicks over here are included in the 4,227. So roughly, rough math here, 1,050 of these clicks came from our organic efforts to get people to our site. Okay. Now let's go down and look at the last product I mentioned with it, which is Google Lighthouse. Google Lighthouse tells us how our server is doing. Now I'm going to give a big shout out to Real Geeks. I don't get paid to say their name, but Real Geeks runs our servers, and that's great. We can look here and see how good of a job are they doing, and how good of a job is the code that we write on that server doing. So there are what is it, about 50, almost 60 tests that they're running against the server. I'm not sure what all the tests do, but I know that 75% green is good. Okay. There will always be some sort of failure. The internet's got a hiccup or something's not right. But we're at 81% green. Anything over 75% green is fabulous. Now, the one thing that I do watch like a hawk is load time. So imagine these are 7 people running a race. And when the gun goes off, all 7 people dart across to the finish line. These 3 people dart across so fast they get there in 0 seconds. They're just done. This chubby person at the end is me, and I took 2.84 seconds to cross the finish line. Altogether, 5.87 seconds. That's a pretty darn good load time. So load time is something that Google looks at in your ranking factors.
And
So
what is
I
there
look,
that are there things that speed that up or slow that down?
there are certainly things that slow it down, which is embedding a lot of scripts in your site, embedding movies that move and swim in, and you're flying over the city, and you and your friends are walking through a hallway and looking at the house. Those sorts of movies and scripts that change all the. Sometimes you load a website and you see the font change twice and the picture shifts around, and when you hover over something, it changes the picture a little bit. All those things slow your site down just a tiny, tiny little bit until you're up to a 14-second load time.
Yeah, I'm clicking the back button and going back to the search results to see what I can find that's faster.
So our biggest rivals are Realtor and Zillow.
Hmm.
They have super fast load times, and their sites are full of houses. People are coming to our website to see houses. And unfortunately, a lot of the brands of IDX companies out there tell you at their booth in the back of the conference that, Leslie, that this site is all about you. People want to know about you and how great you are, and let's just get you up front. And I say with love, nobody cares about us yet. If they're looking for homes in Denver, Colorado, they want to see homes. They don't want to meet Sally in her realtor pose with all of her people behind her and all of her awards. They want homes in Denver. And if they don't see them, they bounce over to Zillow or Google.
Right.
So we need to get out of the way. One of the ways we get out of the way is with this load time. We don't take a lot of time to get our site up and present. And when you do a subsequent search, you don't have to wait for those subsequent searches to come up a long time. They just appear. So this product helps us, that we've come up with here, helps us look at a holistic look at your site and how it's doing. Now, can I show you something else?
Please do.
Okay, so in this site, what we can look at is how did people get to us? So many people are paying for ads on Google or on Facebook or whatever, and their ad person takes it and runs it, and they don't understand what's happening. So this is a way to look at, this is using Google Analytics data. So we're not coming up with our own data. This is straight from the horse's mouth, but we're able to see it in a much better light. Okay, so let's look at organic search data for our website. We're up 5%. That's great. Congratulations. Now you'll see here that in the previous month, we had some high spikes and some dips, and that's just because certain properties came on the market and people were sharing them around. So we had a total of 13 sessions. We had 1,078 users come to our site. They spent 22 hours and 36 minutes on our site. That's pretty darn good. While they were there, they looked at 3,089 things. Okay. I'm sorry, 389 things. And the events, which the events are basically moving up, moving down, shifting over, doing things like this, 8,835 times. Those are really good numbers for us. Now, our paid search, let's look and see how our Google ads are doing. And I'm not a Google ads expert, so this tells me a little bit more about how my folks are doing. Okay, so my Google ad traffic is up 25%. I should be happy with that. Okay, actually, sessions are up 33%. Users are up 25%. They spent 10 hours and 47 minutes total on my site. They had, I'm sorry?
No, I saying that's amazing.
Yeah, I stumble over numbers, so sometimes I say them all backwards. Dyslexia is a horrible thing. Views, 1,273 views, and a total number of events at 3,749. Again, this is a good month for us. Now, direct traffic means people don't have to search for us. They just come right to us. Okay. They either have it as a link somewhere or they type us in and they come to us. This is down 24%. And I'm not going to cry too much because last month we had some really good posts go somewhere and somebody shared them. So I'm not going to be too upset about that. I'll monitor this, but I'm not going to freak out about it. So we had 2361 users for a total of 2439 sessions, meaning some of them came back twice, 100 and some on, a little under 100 came back. This tells us the pages they went to, where did they land, which page is getting the heat. Now, obviously our home page is going to get the most, but some of these other pages are doing pretty good. Maybe I go look at those pages and sauce them up and come up with more pages like that. Maybe I do some blogs about whatever that topic is. They spent a total of 9 hours and 25 minutes on my site. That's pretty darn good.
That's
Now let's
amazing.
look at our social media. Our social media for us ends up being very Facebook heavy. Part of that is because we live and die on Facebook, but Instagram and TikTok do not allow link embedding in their posting.
Ah,
So Instagram and TikTok, you'll always hear people say, "Go find the link in my profile,"
yes.
because TikTok and Instagram and YouTube Shorts additionally, they don't want to have live links in their posts because they don't want it to be spammy. Which means when you post something about a brand new home or something going on in your open house or whatever, you can't put that live link in your Insta or your TikTok unless you have a special profile, which 9 out of 10 realtors don't even know about. Okay. Facebook is a referral site that works well for us because they do allow in every post to have a live link. Okay. They encourage it. They actually show those a little bit more, I think, algorithmically, although Facebook doesn't tell me. That's my understanding. So we had 167 users click over from a social media, and you'll see here it's Facebook, 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 and then one of our WordPress sites. So this is pretty good, not horrible. It's down 20%, but again, last month we probably had a post that got more people. Now, referral traffic is what I love. And I love that ChatGPT is becoming one of our biggest referral engines. We teach a
Okay.
class on,
That's a whole class you teach. Yes, I was about to say that.
yes,
It's amazing.
we teach a whole class in using ChatGPT as what we call earned media. So let's take just a second here to talk about, we have owned media. Owned media is our website, our social media sites, things that we own, we control the message. You have paid media, which we pay somebody to run an ad for us. We control how much we spend and we control the message. Earned media is what people say about us. We don't control the message, but we can heavily influence it if we're good people. Or if we're bad people, that can influence it as well. So ChatGPT is earned media. We don't own what it's saying about us, but we can influence it by teaching ChatGPT about us. So last month we got 30 users come over from ChatGPT. The large language models, ChatGPT, Grok, Claude, and Gemini, they are becoming places where somebody will go type in, "I have a home for sale in Plano, Texas. Who should I call?" And if we teach them about ourselves and about our sites and our specializations, they're more likely to say, "Call Leslie Wilson with Texas Pride Realty Group. He is the one you should talk to." So I'm so glad to see this climbing here. These other referral sites are just places that have sent us users. And it's just a great thing. If you have a well-established website, you're going to get backlinks from other sites to you, and they bring you folks. Now, display ads, I don't think we're running display ads this month. I'll check with my ads person. This is how many people would come to us from emails, um, videos, things of that nature. But we can break down our audience by the segment of the audience in a much more granular way than I could ever figure out in here.
Oh yeah, as someone who's played with both of those separately, this is much clearer and easier to understand.
So let's look at Google Business Profile, which is a bit of an enigma unto itself. So when you're dealing with Google Business Profile, you're going to have some statistics, but this lines it up in a nicer way. So I can see here that I had a total of 374 desktop searches, 266 mobile searches, 178 maps, and 60 mobile maps. So that gives me a ratio here that we're pretty 62% desktop versus 37% mobile, which is very interesting since we're a more mobile society, we would think. Now our impressions go up. See how the impressions went down over the 4th of July holiday? Nobody's
Hmm.
looking for houses over 4th of July. They're having a barbecue. They're hanging out at the pool. They're having fun. But the seasonality kicks back in towards the end of the summer as people decide to get serious about home and they start really looking so that they can get their home before, school starts and everybody gets back to work. We had a really good day on the 9th of July. Not sure why, but I'll talk to John, our admin, and find out what he posted that day. And maybe we post more like that. So this will also give you some information about how many people were looking to call us. We don't really want people calling. We want people going to our website, and our web clicks are up 31%. We're a
Wow.
virtual office, so anybody looking for directions to us, that's nice. Not going to really be what we look for here. So we have the ability to go deeper in on some of these other products more so than we just do on the summary site that we do. What we also do is we send you this as a monthly report. Every month, on the 5th of the month, we send out the report, and you get this plus all the subsequent other reports underneath it for you to review. And if you have questions, you can call me. You can get on with Leslie. Um, we always do, by the way, we do it on the 5th of the month because Google Business Profile reports 3 days late. So I freaked out at one point. I had flat lines for the last 3 days of Google Business Profile, and I thought I broke my. Let me show you what that looks like. I thought I broke my business profile, and if you set it to instead of the last month, you set it preceding 3 days. Look how flat that is at the end. And I thought, oh my God, I killed my Google. No, they just report late. So I always send it out on the 5th of the month so that everybody gets the full report and nobody has a panic attack and everything's great. One of the other things that I like to check on everybody with is when I set this up with you, I go through your Google Search Console. I want to be sure that your sitemap has been submitted. One
Right.
thing that's going on with Search Console right now is that they are not indexing the same ratio of pages that they used to. Part of that is because they're now doing their AI search results. And
Hmm.
as we're coding websites, we're putting some code in there to try to get into the AI search results. Of course, Google doesn't call me and tell me what they want to see to get into the AI search results. So we're all kind of shooting in the dark, but I'm trying to beef up the content on those so that we have a chance of showing up in those search results. Google is taking a huge proportion of searches right now and keeping it in either the first page that they send back with the AI summary or taking you to another Google product like YouTube or Google Maps. So the share of what we're fighting over for search results is getting slimmer and slimmer, which means we need a site that's fast, efficient, and has plenty of good content,
Hmm.
helpful content, as they say, instead of just having the out-of-the-box IDX site that you bought from the vendor in the back of the room and never opened up.
So approximately how many websites are you doing this service for right now?
Right now, we have about 50 sites that we're working.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
And I
which is,
know
go ahead.
no, and I know that you and I specifically talk a lot about real estate. Is this specific service something you could offer to someone who's not doing real estate, say the local
We
bakery?
could we
Like,
could do it for a variety of services. Yeah, it's real estate that we're focused on now because we're real estate agents.
right,
But one of the reasons that I like having this number is we can look at this is how many sessions. And some of these are young sites. They're not going to have a lot of sessions. Some of these are very mature sites. But what we can look at is if somebody's having a bad month, well, is everybody having a bad month or is it just you? If you're just
right.
looking at Google Analytics and you've had a bad month or you've had an amazing month, you're going to think, "Oh my gosh, what does this mean?" Right now, we can look at the sites that we've done recent work on and see spikes. We can look at sites that we haven't had time to do any work on, or the other person that we're working with has, is just, getting through for the month. And we can look at those sites and go, wow, that's not getting us as much. We can look at session duration. How are people doing with their session duration? We can take these statistics across all the sites we're working and see who's up and who's down. Okay. When you have a 5-minute session duration, that's great. When you have 14 seconds, that's not so great. We need to work on some blogging and things like that. So it's a matter of being able to see things in context, not just in a silo of each of these products. What do these things mean? How do they compare to other sites around the country? What does this mean for us? One of the
Right.
ones I love to look at is and these are not public. These are things you and I could walk through with somebody if they're on the line with us.
Right.
Is this gives us load time ideas across a variety of pages. How are load times doing? Is it us? Is it them? What's going on? So I like to look at all the sites and see where things are and what we can do. And I want to be a part of the growth of your site. I don't want to just be, here's some pages I made for you and some content, go away. I want to be part of, hey, we tried this on a site in New York. Can we try it now on the one in Colorado? Can we try it now in Florida? What worked here? Will
Right.
it work up here, or will it be like, no, that doesn't work here? Like our biggest search each month ends up being something like mother-in-law plan.
Yes.
Doesn't mean that the one in Baltimore is going to be mother-in-law plan. Up there, it may be coastal, it may be inner harbor, it may be whatever. So we need to learn what works in each of those markets. And I've learned so much about geography. I've learned so much about websites, which I already knew, I thought pretty well about each of those, but it's so amazing to figure those out. And one thing you may not understand is that each MLS, there are hundreds, I don't even know the total number of MLSs in the United States. Each one of them has a different set of data variables. So when an IDX company has
Hmm.
a feed from that IDX, it may not be like any other IDX in the country, and we have to learn it and figure out how to exploit the opportunities in each one
Right.
of those.
And we're really good at that, by the way. We are really good at that.
We have found ways of doing that. So I always use the analogy of we're running a clothing store, and we put a nice set of trousers and some tank tops and everything in the front window. And then when somebody comes into our shop, we say, hey, your size and color are in the back room. Go through the boxes and find them. That's what we do when we have a box on our website that says, good luck finding your own house. Pick and choose till you find the house you want and then call us. That's not how we want to approach it. We want to have all the sizes and colors of shirts out on display. We want to have all the trousers out, all the sizes, so that people will randomly pick through them. And so that Google will go through and say, hey, they've got a site for homes in Plano, Texas on a corner lot and on a cul-de-sac lot and with a pool and not a non-HOA, an HOA, and with a basement and with solar panels and with whatever else. Because we have all those elements in that box. Why not go make those links and just put them out so that when Google crawls our site, it sees a lot of helpful content. And that depends on some technical stuff like what's called a query string URL, which we know about, but you don't have to. We've got that for you. We can help you build those sites out so that the whole inventory gets out on display rather than, hey, go in the back room and find your size and color, which is just creepy and nobody's going to do that. Our clothing store would be closed in a heartbeat. The other thing is that when they come into the clothing store, when they come to our website, they need to log in immediately on the first house. And some people will say, well, I don't want to do that. That's no, 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 no. Because if we're running that clothing store and we give them we let them steal 3 shirts and hope they pay for the fourth one, we're out of business. Okay. They're taking 3 houses before you ask them to log in, or they're taking all the houses and you never know they were there. You have no idea that your site is actually converting because you're not making them register. So I struggle with people about that. And I'm like, you have to make them sign in.
Now I know you and I early on we were like, oh, we don't want to make people register. We had that mentality that we didn't want to, and having people register was actually kind of a more of a newer thing. And then we kind of realized, like, we had people using our websites um, because their agent didn't have one, or
Yes.
their agent just had a front-facing page and they couldn't search for properties. And I'm like, well, if is your agent in business to sell real estate? Because makes a kind of difference. So this product, that we've been talking about, the analytics part of it, how would someone go about what, first of all, what would it cost them to actually get that set up? And is there a monthly fee, an annual fee? What do they get with that?
We do this at $50 a month for the
Hmm.
site.
Hmm.
And we have a discount. I don't remember off the top of my head what it is, but we have a discount if you pay a little bit for the year. We do it billing by quarters. And what we also do is we want to meet up with you and talk about the numbers so that you understand what the site is. I think one of the problems with technology is that people go, "Oh, I don't understand it. I'll never figure it out." This is this website is basically an open house you don't have to staff. It's running 24/7. It's an open house on the internet. You can make bank off of it. Now, one of the other things you can think about is that you're open housing every listing in the MLS 24/7. Okay. So when we're looking at your site and we're saying, hey, here's all these cities in your
Hmm.
area, and you go, but I'm only in these 5 cities. I only want to drive to those five, but you have 200 cities there. I'm going to push you a little harder and say, wouldn't you love to make referrals in the other city? Maybe we put those five at the top of the list, but why not have all the other cities? Because you're kind of having a limiting belief that you would have to drive 3 counties away to show a house. No, find a friend 3 counties away, but make the website sing better than that person in 3 counties away does, and get the referrals and make 25, 35, whatever percentage you can make.
Listen, I agree. Like, couch money is good money. If you if
Couch.
you, if all you
Mhm.
had to do was respond to an email or answer a phone call and find someone else in that area to do it, absolutely. By the way, we already do this with our current clients that are moving to another city or another state. We already find that agent for them. So this is really no different. They're coming to your website, and using the services you pay for to search for their next home. Why not help them find the agent to help them to do that? Because if they're not in your area, you we know we've been in this business long enough. We know agents everywhere,
Right.
and anybody who's running a website like that probably does too. So it's more couch
So
money.
so yeah, couch money is great. You pick up the phone, you make the referral, you connect the people, and you look for the check to come in later. And then also on the other side, when somebody sends me a referral, I love that. I'll go run them around town and
Right.
send them a nice little bonus for that as well. One thing to think about also when you're naming your site, and this is just my opinion, other people may have their opinions.
Mhm.
I don't want to name the site after me. I want
Right.
to name the site after my geography
Mhm.
or my state or something about that. Because someday, if I want to retire, nobody can walk in the door and be Bob McCraney,
Right.
but somebody could walk in the door and be Texas Pride Realty. So the site I build, as I'm building up my backlinks and I'm building up the history of my site and I'm building my content, I don't want somebody to inherit my company or buy my company and then switch the URL and lose all that because they can't be Bob McCraney. So the vanity, of course, I want to own my domain name so that nobody else
Right.
can be me, but I don't necessarily want it to be the flagship domain name. I actually have a client right now. Her current domain authority, by the way, is between 1 and 100. One meaning nobody on the internet even knows you're there, and 100 means you are the biggest website in your whole market, like let's say CNN. 100 domain versus 0. This person had a domain authority of 6. It's not going to hurt them to change over to a different
Right.
URL that can be a legacy URL that they build up and then sell someday. If you had a domain authority 25 to 40, I wouldn't move it. Okay. Most real estate websites don't get above about a 30, 35 domain authority if they're doing really well. Don't know why, but that's just where the domain authority kind of caps out for individual real estate websites. Things like uh, Realtor.com and Zillow have obviously much higher, but they're corporations. But so if you had a domain authority in that range, I wouldn't change it at this point. You've already built something, let it ride. But if you have a domain authority that's really low, as we're helping build out your site, it might be the time to go ahead and switch that to something that's geographically based or superlative based. Obviously,
Yeah.
don't use the word realtor in it unless you're doing Bob McCraney Realtor. You cannot be a superlative or geographic next to the trademark, but you know, always always own your name, but think about having a geographic or superlative name for your company that is not related to your name.
Okay. So smallbrandsmedia.com, or you can click on scan the QR code there, and you can either set up time with Bob, or you can go ahead and pre-order the service for the analytics part of it. But yeah, and by the way, we will meet with you at least once a month if you so choose, so we can help explain it to you. But once we explain to you a couple of times, you probably pretty much have it down. So
Yeah.
that's
What
it.
people don't realize is that this is not as hard as some people make it. If we understood how to fix our cars, it wouldn't be that complicated. If we understood how to code a website, it wouldn't be that complicated. The thing is, I don't want to learn how to fix a car.
No.
I don't want to learn how to do some of the other things. So that's where we hire it out and we get help with that. So give us a call, give us an email, find us on social media, and just reach out.
All right, Bob. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.